which is develop my skills, excuse me, which is knowledge, tools, techniques, creativity, and experience.
And what do all of those steps mean to you personally?
Well, I feel like all five of them are parts of every skill, like every attribute of skill. In order to use a skill properly, you need information, you need knowledge. And with that knowledge, it allows you to gain a better comprehension or understanding of the skill. And just having knowledge alone isn't enough. You also need the tools so that you can use the skill. So that's where, you need the knowledge and the tools as well as the techniques. Now, techniques themselves are, they're how we use the tools. So let's say if you have the tool, but you don't have any techniques, then the tools become useless. And, so that's the biggest part of it is these things are, they work together, that you need all five of them. And you need creativity because, that's how we solve problems. I think skills are really there for us to solve problems with. And that's the biggest reason why you develop yourself. You develop your skills so you can solve more problems. That's how you make yourself more valuable. And experience obviously is very important because without experience, you can't really utilize the full potential of a skill. So the more you practice, the more you use the skill, the better it comes, and the more you develop it.
I heard you say a couple of things that are really interesting, and there are also some things that I think our audience is going to be really interested in. Earlier, you talked about passing this knowledge on, that your skills on to the next generation. So, what would you say is the most important thing to pass down to the next generation?
Well, honestly, the most important thing I believe is your skills, truthfully, because if you pass down your skills, then you empower people. Because I believe that to teach someone something is better than to just give them something, like give them money,
And it's kind of like that old parable.
Yeah, teach a man to fish. Teach a man how to fish. He can feed himself, instead of just giving him a fish. And I feel like that's one of the most important things. And that's something that, for me, when I grew up, I wasn't passed down any skills. I had to really learn almost everything, except like the basic stuff. Like my mom taught me how to read, she taught me how to walk, she taught me how to talk, But I was never taught like a skill from my father on how to make money or any financial skills, financial literacy. I wasn't taught these things. And I believe that if I was given these things at a younger age, I'm pretty sure I would be well better off than what I am today.
Do you think you would have found success earlier if you had those skills and had those tools passed down to you?
Oh, absolutely. I think those are paramount for success. I believe that, without skill development, success is very difficult to come by, no matter what success is for you.
You also talk about visualization. Now, why is visualization such an important part of the process?
Well, we are all visual creatures, and I feel like we learn a lot based on what we see. So to visualize your skills or to visualize what you know is key, because when you do that, it kind of reinforces the skill already that's in you. It's like why write a plan out, right? You have a plan in your mind, but once you write it down on paper, then it becomes real. And it's kind of the same thing with a skill. Like you can have all these abilities within you, but once you write it down and break it down, then you're able to see what it actually is. And then, you can actually take what you know and teach it to others. I think that's the biggest part of writing it down and to be able to visualize, because it just makes it easier to pass your skills down to someone else when you do that.
So the skills journal is not just about passing down your knowledge from one generation to the next. It's also about personal development.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And I say that because it helps you. It forces you to do a deep dive, really to see what you already know, and then to expand your knowledge further. Just like any development tool, there's many out there. It helps you to organize your thoughts, and that's the biggest thing. I believe that the system itself is unique, but the way you use it isn't. It's something that most people are used to, just like writing. Just sit down and writing your thoughts on paper, and I think that when you have an organized way of doing it, so like something to guide you, it makes it a little easier versus you just having to start from scratch from a blank piece of paper.
And we talk about businesses, professionals, educators, students being affected by the pandemic. And now everyone's world is kind of turned upside down. Once people were going out to work, now we have a large population of people who are working from home, teaching from home, learning from home when they weren't learning or teaching from home previously.
Hmm.
And things are just confusing. And as a parent who is doing virtual learning alongside with their child, it can also be very frustrating, especially when the people who are supposed to be disseminating the information don't know how to disseminate information virtually. Like, it's new for everyone, but it's stressful. How can this help? How can this help us in this current situation we're in?
Well, I think people are forced to see how little that they actually know, and they're forced they need to upskill. And so they need to learn new technologies, they need to learn new practices, they need to learn to do new things. And, there's always going to be a learning curve.